Okay, so welcome to part 3 of this mix video. Since the last one, what I've done is printed the lead vocal, and while I was doing it, I moved the faders, try to get it to sit in the mix. I've done the same with the backing vocals. There wasn't much like fader running on those. It was like all these tracks have been taken from the finished mix, so everything was fairly stable to get a nice sounding static mix. But what I've got it set up as now, so the plan is to do a mix, get a stereo mix of the instrument tracks, get a stereo mix of the vocals, and then we'll do a stereo mix and create an effects channel that we can then mix in with the instruments and the vocal and print a finished stereo mix of the track to master. And then we can compare it with the original one and see if it's any better, if it's different. So if we get into it, go into Cubase. So what I've done is I've got the bass that is being sent to, if the camera isn't delayed, it seems to be in time, it's going to the Pultec. So I will mix a bit on there. I'll take the camera. So I've got the instruments being sent to the left and right mix. If the camera catches up. And I'm also sending it as parallel mixes to tracks 1, 2, and 3 and 4. So let's see what that sounds like. So I've got 1 and 2 going to the bus compressor. So we'll do a parallel compressed mix to blend in. And like we've done on the drums, I've also got it going over to those 2 Behringer Sonic Exciter units to see if we can enhance the top end a bit. So just get that camera ready. Okay, so get rid of the effects for the moment. That is so delayed. I'm not sure what is happening with it, but I'm sure we'll get it fixed. I don't know if this mic is loud enough. I will try and turn it up a bit. That might be a little better. Okay. So we'll have a listen through and we can try listening to the parallel mixes. I'll start with 1 and 2. I think I'm going to compress this quite a bit. Okay, so pretty happy with how that compressor's set up for the bus mix, the parallel bus. Okay, so what we'll try and do is print a version of the instrumental tracks so we can bounce all of these down to an instrument track, and then we can use these tracks to send to various different effects and make an effects stereo track to then blend together, see what it sounds like. It could be rubbish because I have never done this before to this extent, but I thought it would be a good experiment just to see if you can achieve a different type of sound with the same files, really. So if we go back to that is so delayed, that's about 5 minutes ago. Oh well, we'll not use that camera. So what I'll do, I'll show you how I've done it on the other one. So we're going to add audio track. We're going to go left and right in, which takes a stereo mix from the overall left and right channels. We'll send it won't make any difference, but we'll send it to master track, even though we're not going to listen to it through that. Add track. Should have labeled it instruments. Okay, so not sure if this is going to catch up, but I'll just go through here and just explain what I'm going to do. Nope, not working. So I'll mute this mic, hit record on this instruments track, and do somewhat of an instrument mix. See what we'll get. will start that again because the bass was too loud and it was clipping on the desk. So let's hit record again. The levels and everything else sounded fairly good. So let's go for a record again. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with how that's gone. I'll probably do another pass through it when I'm not recording the camera, because I think you get little cutouts and things using the screen grab software. So I'll leave it there. I'll do the same as that for the vocals. So we'll have a vocal mix, and then I'll set up an effects stereo out. So we can have stereo. Is the camera going to work? No. No, not working. So we can have stereo instruments, stereo vocals, stereo effects, and then we'll do that same thing again, mix everything down to one final pair, and then master that. So maybe one more video, maybe two more, depending on how much time I've got. But that's all I've got for this one. So thanks. Bye bye.